So, welcome to the Light Conversations. Today it is the Luce Conversations, and I'm so delighted to be in conversation today with an amazing person and formidable yoga teacher trainer, one of the people I've trained with in Yin Yoga, Nico Luce. How are you today, and where in the world are you? It's beautiful where you are.
Hi, thank you. I'm at home, and this is in Vaud, Switzerland. I'm in the Canton de Vaud, is the French-speaking part, and my town is called Saint Georges.
It's so gorgeous, just like so lush and green behind you. What a lovely place to live. So what's life like for you at the moment?
Life is a lot of gardening. I love gardening. Lots of time outdoors. I've been biking a lot. With the quarantine here in Switzerland, they allowed us to go out to exercise. So biking and hiking and all that. And I live at the top of the mountain. So there was a lot of making food at home, growing food at home, being at home. And I think I was meant to go through a quarantine because I put myself in quarantine between each trip that I do. And usually I travel somewhere every weekend. So it's been 3 months now for me steady just at home, and I love it.
Yeah, right. Because your sort of normal routine is like retreats every couple of months, traveling around the world, right? So you're enjoying this kind of change of pace, the gardening and the time at home with family. Are you missing anything at this time?
Yes, I am. I'm missing, first of all, I'm missing my two kids because for both of them, they were studying abroad. So they're coming back in 2 weeks. And that was the part where I missed the sharing the experience together. It would have been like a Christmas holiday, but like 3 months long. And it's been such a great time with my wife to share the space, to give each other space as we're sharing the space. And so I'm so looking forward to both kids coming back. But I'm also missing the connection, the live connection with the students. Most of the things that I do these days is teacher training. I probably dedicate 80% of my time to either the 200-hour teacher training or the modules of the 300-hour. So some of those trainings we continue through Zoom online, and it's been productive, but I miss the proximity to people.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically you're like a DJ kind of on Zoom with people asking their questions, and because so much of your teaching, having experienced it myself, is the kind of Q&A, satsang dialogue. And can that all happen for you online with digital technology?
Less so, and we have to organize ourselves. So what I've been doing is some Zoom classes, just asana classes with different studios that I worked around the world, and I haven't done many of them. The main reason is that many of my colleagues is the only source of income, and I am privileged that I work with other platforms. I work with Gaia, and I record from home for Gaia. So I continue with my training. So I really didn't want to take on more than I did. I think I've done 4 classes so far. So those ones, no, you're just teaching in front of the camera and you're practicing and teaching. So those are challenging on their own. I don't practice when I teach, you know me? So this has been like on the mat as if I was filming a video for Gaia, actually. The second part has been the teacher training online hours, and those ones, yes, we keep it interactive, but we all understand the new codes. For example, muting when you have a group of 30 people and taking the time to share the mic and all that.
And so what kind of teacher trainings are you running at the moment?
200-hour teacher trainings. One that was in Milan that is still going on, and the other one here in Lausanne. So yeah, we are progressing, and we are going to finish them in person, hopefully by the end of June and beginning of July.
Okay, that's really positive. That's cool. So back to engaging with the real world again. And are those, is that a general Hatha teacher training, or is it a specific style like I did Yin with you? Is that part of it, or does that come separately?
It's Vinyasa, Hatha Vinyasa. So yeah, but Vinyasa, we flow, we also move with the breath, and we keep that essence of Vinyasa style.
So not everyone listening to this will know exactly what that is,
Okay.
but I'm assuming that anyone listening might be quite interested in what that is. Do you want to maybe explain what is vinyasa?
I would love to. So we have this big word that is called yoga, and yoga has many different disciplines, and some of them are more spiritual disciplines. For example, just reciting scriptures or chanting mantras. And some of the other disciplines are more about doing things. And we have asana yoga, the physical practice, and we also have kriya yoga, which are techniques, cleansing techniques. So they're all involved in doing. So when we talk about the physical yoga, we call it asana. And we have poses, but we have different approach as to how do we practice these poses. And then by then we just define different styles. So when we talk about Hatha Yoga, in India, Hatha Yoga is this physical practice actually. So all the practice where one would do a posture would be Hatha Yoga. But in the West, we use the word Hatha Yoga more for when someone says it's a Hatha style class, it's going to be a class where it's going to be a little bit more gentle. There's not going to be emphasis on moving with the breath, although there's breath awareness and breath exercises. So that's one more perhaps simple way, and it's the first one that came to the West. When we talk about flow yoga or power yoga or anything that is from the family of Vinyasa yoga, including Ashtanga, this one differs because now we are linking the movement and the breath. So now the transition from pose to pose matters. And so it's a more dynamic practice. It requires both strength, endurance, flexibility. We do more arm balances and skill transitions and movement. So it's more of the younger, dynamic, more of a workout. You sweat. It's perhaps the most popular style actually.
Yeah, definitely. So is there anything specifically you want people to know about yoga or about what you do and how you do it?
About yoga.
That's a big one. Maybe more about what.
I love the question because it's like, okay, let's simplify it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I got it. The thing about yoga is that there's nothing that you need to know in order to practice yoga.
Nice.
Let's put it that simple, because it's really not the true practice of yoga. Is not a practice of how much I know, and it's a practice of being present. It's a technique to being present. So there's nothing that no experience is needed, no previous knowledge is needed.
Yeah.
And about me or my approach to it through the years, it's been really learning how to simplify it as a teacher. Let's go to the essence of it. And sometimes I think as a younger teacher, I was more distracted with the details, some details that actually they were probably not that important. And now it's been much more important, the quality. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And can we talk a bit about Yin, since that's what I studied specifically with you, which was an amazing experience. I absolutely loved it. And that's very much rooted in philosophy, right? Based on the Tao Te Ching. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You did a good job.
Yes. Can you say something about that? What is the Tao Te Ching?
Yeah, so first let's describe then the yin. Yin would be on the other spectrum of what I said, vinyasa or power flow yoga, because yin now we go into the poses and we stay in the poses for a long time, for anywhere 3 to 5, maybe even 10 minutes in any pose. So of course, the nature of those poses are poses that don't require so much strength. But we don't hold handstand for 10 minutes. We go into poses that are targeting the major joints, the hips and the shoulders, and learning how to release the body in healthy forms and shapes, but to release the body, to let gravity take over and to relax, not to engage, to disengage. And it's a big challenge. From the outside, it looks like you're not doing anything, but on the inside, it could be a big challenge to be uncomfortable, because it can be uncomfortable, right? So then for this teacher training on how to live with discomfort, I linked it to a book called the Tao Te Ching. And the philosophy of the Tao is philosophy coming from China as opposed to from India. So it has a different take on spirituality and living and the art of living. So I think it goes really well also with the practice of yin, because it's this practice of what we learn through the Tao Te Ching is that one of the famous quotes is learning how to yield to overcome. For example, how to go with the flow, how to surrender, how to give in to the current situation in order to be able to handle it, perhaps. So it's a different approach. Instead of like, get up, fight it, and do it, it's like, wait a second, now, maybe it's now, and there's a time in the day, and a time in the week, and a time in our lives too, to slow down and to really practice surrendering.
And so these are the sort of yin and yang styles of yoga, right? Like really complementary. The time to go for it and the time to slow down and surrender. I love that. So what would you suggest, considering that slow down and surrender seems kind of like what we all have to do right now? Like we don't even really have a choice about it right now. Do you have any advice for me and anyone listening how to best be through this time? We're still in the UK in a lockdown situation for another few weeks at least. It's been 8 weeks that we've contained. We can go for a walk, but it's quite a strange shift in existence. So considering things like slow down and surrender, or anything else in your big toolkit of wisdom that you've got, what would you suggest for getting through this in terms of well-being?
Yeah, so in order to tackle this and to go a little deeper than the surface, let's describe the situation from the outside and from the inside. And by that we say, well, now on the outside, you don't have a choice regarding the slowing down. You cannot go to work. You cannot go about your life the way you used to, and you don't have a choice on the matter. So it is like the practice of slowing down has been like imposed upon you on the outside. But you could say, well, okay, yeah, I'm not going to work, and I'm getting out of the house just to do groceries and I stay home, and there's apparently nothing to do. But we can make ourselves so busy in doing nothing. I take care of 100 of little, really unimportant things on a daily basis, but they don't matter, actually. I make myself like busy with those things if I wanted to. So it is not true that the imposed slow down on the outside reflects the slowing down on the inside. If anything, it shows sometimes more our tendency to do something all the time. So something to distinguish that. And the opposite is sometimes true. I found myself perhaps more of on a regular practice when my life was chaotic. Chaos was the norm. It's not chaotic, but in transit, going to places, coming back from places, some places really far, the whole transit part. So life on the outside was like, whoa. But then I had my routines that I was very, it would keep me grounded. Well, now I don't need that. I'm grounded is the norm. It's like so I'm kind of like, I let myself play a little bit with on the inside. Now let's be a little bit more loose now that it's on the outside. It's so restricted. And by that, I mean prioritizing in the day. Because you could also see this situation as, and it's both, as this like really shitty situation. I cannot live my life the way I want it. And you can also see it like when in your lifetime, someone was like paying you to stay home.
Right?
Forcing you to take a vacation. Like when it will not happen again. So now that you can do all the things that you said that you would do if you had all the time in the world, and now you do have, what is it that you do with that time?
I like that.
To really take on responsibility. And I would say, as a piece of advice, prioritize what gives you joy. There are many things in the house that bring you joy, I found. For some people, it's cleaning. For other people, for me, it's gardening. It's almost like cleaning, but on the outside. For someone else, it's like dedicating to the body, to breathing, to practicing yoga. For someone else, it's painting, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Start from there.
That's really good advice. So do what brings you joy. This is the chance to do that. We are being asked to stay at home and find our joy. I love that. That's super positive. How do you think this will like affect people though? Like kind of spiritually? Do you think that this is going to affect human beings on a global scale? Like we're all being contained and then we're going to go back out in the world. Do you think it'll have a positive effect on people and how we interact with each other?
I cannot make predictions. I don't want to make predictions for us as a community. But I think in owning how we interact as a community, how, to me, it just confirmed, like, once again, perhaps more strongly, that nothing that we give for granted is like you can count on. Like, if I really want to take this opportunity to, first of all, to gain appreciation and to practice appreciation, to say, okay, because it's not like, oh, well, that happens to you because you practice yoga. No, because you practice yoga, you put it into practice. And then what am I learning about this situation? I'm learning. I have awesome neighbors, like truly awesome. I really get along. And I was privileged enough to be able to choose where to live in the world. I chose to live here because I really love it. And then it put it into perspective. Why did I design a lifestyle in which I'm not here 150 days of the year? So it was like, okay, that I had already 2 years ago shifted. So 2020 was supposed to be my least traveled year, and I would only take 4 flights. And that was it. And then the universe said, no, you will take none. Yeah.
Well, you are definitely someone who has been traveling the world teaching for many, many years. So I'm actually really happy for you that you're enjoying this enforced stay where you are, period. What are you looking forward to as we emerge out into the world again?
And I've noticed this already with in Switzerland. You know, if you know anything about Switzerland, or okay, I've been living here only for 6 years, so I don't know everything about it. But Swiss people appreciate the choice, having a choice regarding things, and that's why the government, for example, didn't impose masks on people, but the government recommends people that you wear masks. the easing of the lockdown and all the procedures. So, and we are aware that we have actually more freedoms. And with that comes the responsibility. And what I noticed, for example, 3 weeks ago, the garden centers open up. So imagine like a nerd like me, I was like, they're first, right? What impressed me is how we were all contributing to keep this delicate balance of opening up in this situation. And I love to see us taking care of it. I think the biggest change we can make is by taking care first of all for yourself, and then just do it for your neighbor. Take care of other people. And now you're taking care of them actually through distance. It's a little easier than actually running a baby. But have that sense of respect. I don't know. I appreciate the being able to see other people too. So it's going to happen in Europe, for example, that studios will open up, and chances are we won't be able to do hands-on adjustments, for example, or get too close to anybody. So back to all the things that we take for granted. It's like, well, we appreciate seeing each other. Let's take care of each other. For the time being, apparently we are going to all have to learn to live with it, with the virus, to live with the fragile condition. And we can do a great job. We can, we will. It's up to every one of us. As they say, the enemy is invisible. And then it requires greater awareness. It's invisible, so be aware. Nico, I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, you're talking to yourself, but you're also talking to me and anyone listening, and that's great. And yeah, be aware, be mindful. Do you think that there'll be more yoga happening outdoors, considering like this transition back? I mean, I'm looking at your backdrop there, and it looks pretty beautiful. Like yoga in outdoor spaces seems like a good thing.
Could be a good solution, right? Because like in the parks, they mark the spaces with 2 meters apart. Yoga outdoors it can be a fun experience, but to me was never a regular practice. What you see right now is my deck, and it's beautiful. I don't practice on the deck. For some reason, the yogis used to go to caves to practice, the shala, the idea of being in a place where the doors would be actually closed. Not so much of the superstition, but the outdoors, like the ground is uneven, there are mosquitoes, the sun is blinding, the wind came in and something blew away, the voice projection for the teacher, so then you need a sound system, so then you end up needing equipment. So again, I love it as a celebration, as a one-off, as a festive thing. I don't know if the regular, unless it's contained, unless it's in a backyard, which could be a really good idea. It's like, okay, teach your neighbors in a bigger backyard. But what we used to have, like in the UK or in North America, the classes with 50 people, 100 people. Well, that with the social distance is a field.
Yeah, a football field.
Yeah.
Maybe during the summer, that could be something that people can enjoy, like making use of some fields while the schools are shut. And, but yeah, I like that what you're saying. There are definitely more distractions when you're outdoors in nature, right? There's the tree, the birds, the plane, yeah. So what you're saying is like the ultimate in yoga is to have a sort of neutral space you can really go within. Yeah. So in terms of yoga, I mean, do you want to just share what it is you love about it?
What I love about yoga, that perhaps just tying it back to what we've been talking is how profound it is in its simplicity. And we know that simple is not easy. And I don't know, I think that the more I know about it, the less you need to know about it. It's paradoxical that way. But it comes with practice. And we have practice time all the time. Apparently, it's been, well, platforms like that offer online classes, of course, they've been in high demand these days, right? Like, I mean, something that we can do at home and we don't need a lot of equipment, that that is portable because your body is portable. So that simplicity, that availability, that is something that I appreciate. I love that you don't need anything more than your willingness to do it. Some people do it in wheelchairs because that is their situation. Some people do it lying down in the bed. Some people do it when they are working in the garden, or hopefully when you're cleaning toilets too. It's that practice of being present. That's where it is. It has different shapes and forms, but it comes down to that. That's what I love.
That's beautiful. So how's your memory? Is it putting you on the spot too much to ask you if you have any Tao Te Ching quotes off the top of your head? Can you think of a favorite one?
Oh, I have so many. I'm fortunate, or I plan it the way I do, to teach it often, to be reminded often of the teaching. The one that comes to off the top of my head right now is the hold on to your center. That one speaks volumes to me. Hold on to your center. And then it's like, okay, what would it could be, so which center? What's my physical center then? Okay, we can say, okay, maybe it's my abdomen area, my hara, okay. And then you go, and what is my energetic center? Is it there? Where's my energy emanating from? Where is it going to? What are the centers? Is it more than one? So like really can open, where's my mind? Is it in my head? But when I'm meditating and I have that mindful experience or awareness, I don't feel that it's just a head. So where's that? Where's that place that we hold? Where's the spiritual center? Where's the emotional center? Where's that center? Where's that place to hold on to? So all of a sudden it's like it opens up so much more. And the hold on to it is precious. It must be precious to you. Take care.
That's a good one, especially at this time. Where's my center? And go from there. Oh, Nico, it's been so beautiful to talk to you today. I think that's a really good note to end on, except just before we say goodbye, if people want to get in touch with you or do classes with you, how can they find you?
Yep. So, well, my name is Nico Luce. My website is nicoluce.com, and I have all the events that I do are there on my website. I'm also on social media, Nico Luce on Instagram or Facebook, so people can reach and send me an email or reach out to me that way. And then I have a whole library of classes on Gaia. Gaia.com is an online stream service, not just for yoga, but it has a ton of other content about spirituality and history and energetics. And so huge library. And so if people go to my website, they can click and they have like a 3-day trial and for free, and it's not expensive. It's a great resource.
Cool, excellent. Okay, I myself have not tried the classes on Gaia yet, so I'll be checking that out. I'll do the 3-day trial and then probably be a regular. So on that note, I just want to say thanks so much for taking part in this podcast series, and it's really good to see you and reconnect with you. You're a fantastic teacher, and I loved the teacher training with you, and really connected to the teachings of the yin sort of 10 years after doing the initial training. So I'd been through a lot in that 10 years, and it was wonderful to do that journey with you, and I hope I get to do further trainings with you along the way. I was quite keen on doing that. You were running post yin. What was it? It was
a Vinyasa training, and the book would have been the Bhagavad Gita.
The Bhagavad Gita, yes. And then I, at that time, was pregnant with my second child, quite far along, so that didn't happen. But that's still on my mind in the future, because I love Switzerland and I loved training with you. So I really hope I get to do that again. So thank you very much for taking part in this series. And
Thank you so much for the invitation, and I loved talking to you, and it was fun. So all the best.
Namaste. Thank you, Nico.
Namaste.
Thank you.